You already know what a turbocharged inline-six can do when the engineers refuse to compromise. You have heard about the B18C winning races so completely that the rules had to change around it. You have heard about the two JZGT surviving power levels that destroyed everything bolted to it. You know what Japan was capable of when it decided to get serious about performance. But there is a different kind of serious, a quieter kind. One that does not announce itself with twin turbos and sequential boost, and the kind of horsepower figures that make insurance companies nervous. This video is about that kind of serious. This is the story of the Honda B18C, the engine that proved a naturally aspirated four-cylinder, developed with enough intelligence and enough refusal to compromise, could deliver an experience that no turbocharged rival of its era could fully replicate. And 30 years later, nobody has proven otherwise. There is a number that Honda engineers were obsessed with in the early 1990s. Not horsepower, not torque, not 0 to 60. The number was 100. 100 horsepower per liter. Naturally aspirated from a street-legal engine that regular people could buy, maintain, and drive every single day. Nobody had done it in a production car. Not Ferrari, not Porsche, not any of the manufacturers who had spent decades telling the world that naturally aspirated four-cylinders had a ceiling. And that ceiling was somewhere well below where Honda was now pointing. The B18C didn't just approach that number, it nearly touched it. And in doing so, it didn't just build a reputation, it built a religion. To understand why the B18C matters, you have to understand the world it arrived in. 1993. The performance landscape looked very different from where we are now. If you wanted serious power in an affordable package, your options were turbocharged and relatively crude or naturally aspirated and relatively limited. The idea that a 1.8L four-cylinder could produce 197 horsepower without a turbocharger, without a supercharger, without any form of forced induction at all was not just ambitious. It was the kind of claim that made other manufacturers reach for their own dyno sheets and start looking for the trick. There was no trick. There was just Honda, and Honda had been building toward this moment for years. The lineage matters here. The B18C did not appear from nowhere. It was the culmination of an engineering philosophy that Honda had been developing since the mid-1980s. A philosophy built on one central belief, that the path to performance was not more displacement, not more boost, but more understanding of what was actually happening inside a combustion chamber at high revs. Honda's engineers were not chasing power the way everyone else was chasing power. They were chasing efficiency. They were asking what percentage of the fuel's energy was actually being converted into useful work and then asking how to raise that percentage. The answers they found produced VTC. And if you watched our B16A video, you already know what VTC meant when it first arrived in 1989. A 1.6L four-cylinder producing 158 horsepower naturally aspirated. Nearly 99 horsepower per liter, a number that landed in the automotive press like a grenade, and forced every manufacturer paying attention to sit down and have a very uncomfortable conversation about what they had been doing with their engineering departments. The B16A was Honda saying, "We can do this." The B18C was Honda saying, "Watch what happens when we do it properly." The architecture of the B18C started with the block, 1.8L of displacement, which sounds modest until you understand what Honda was planning to extract from it. The weight reduction program was equally serious. Honda removed the spare tire and replaced it with an inflation kit. They deleted the rear wiper. They used thinner glass in certain areas. Every decision was measured against the same question. Does this add anything that a driver on a circuit actually needs? If the answer was no, it came out. The final car weighed approximately 2,640 pounds in JDM specification. In a category where rivals were getting heavier with each generation, the Integra Type R went the other way. And combined with the B18C's willingness to rev, that weight figure produced a driving experience that had no equivalent at the price point. The lap times followed naturally. Suzuka Circuit, Tsukuba Circuit. Every Japanese track that Honda used for development became a place where the Integra Type R set benchmarks that more powerful and more expensive cars struggled to match. The combination of the B18C's high-revving, naturally aspirated delivery, the chassis' exceptional feedback, and the limited slip differential's ability to convert engine output into cornering speed produced lap times that looked like mistakes when you saw them the first time. A 1.8L front-wheel drive coupe was not supposed to be here on the timing sheets, but there it was repeatedly, consistently, without apology. The rivals felt it immediately. Manufacturers who had been competing in the sport compact segment on the basis of styling and feature content suddenly found themselves being measured against what a B18C powered Integra Type R could do on a circuit. Some of them had no answer. The turbocharged players had the horsepower advantage at peak, but the B18C's rev ceiling and its naturally aspirated throttle response created situations where power numbers did not translate directly into lap times. A car with 50 more horsepower but turbo lag and heavier weight was not automatically faster around Tsukuba than an Integra Type R driven by someone who understood what they had.
Then another executive. And what can we charge for a car with this engine? The Integra Type R currently sells for 3.2 million yen in Japan. We could potentially charge 3.5 million yen for a B20 version. More silence. Someone does the math. The additional cost to Honda is $2,600 per engine. The additional revenue is about $2,800 per car. After accounting for R&D, tooling, and marketing, the profit margin is basically zero. But the real problem is strategic, not financial. Takeo Fukui, who would later become Honda's CEO, articulates it. The B-Series has been in production for 11 years. We've invested hundreds of millions of dollars developing it. And every generation we make it better. But the market doesn't reward us for making it better. Customers bought the original B16A. They bought the B18C. Will they pay significantly more for the B20, or will they see it as just another incremental improvement? The engineering team tries to argue the B20 Ultimate is more than incremental. It's 12% more power than the B18C Type R. It's the most advanced, naturally aspirated engine in the world. But Fukui counters with brutal logic. 12% more power that costs 60% more to produce. That's not a business, that's a hobby. He turns to the broader issue. The B-Series has reached the point of diminishing returns. Every improvement costs more than the last. Every generation delivers less incremental value to customers. We're optimizing a platform that's fundamentally limited by its architecture. What are you suggesting? Someone asks. That we start over. Clean sheet design. Incorporate everything we've learned from the B-Series but without its constraints. Build an engine for the future, not an evolution of the past. The decision is made. The B20 Ultimate is cancelled. The B-Series will continue in current form until a replacement is ready. But no more major development, no more evolution. The B-Series, at the peak of its capability, is frozen in time.